All right, and we are live. Welcome, brothers, to another show. Today we have a very good topic, talking about Kevin Samuel's Men's Week, Men Week. Very good show he did, or series he did on pretty much male improvement. We're going to talk about it right after this message from our sponsor.
Jay, turn that up real quick.
Cigars, 1927. All right, my business partner with a different business, a communication company we own, he has a passion for cigars. So he came to me one day and said, hey man, what do you think about starting a cigar company? So I was like, I'm all in. The only thing that I wanted to make sure was that we did everything from the ground up. I didn't want to go white label or anything like that. I wanted to make sure that we did the whole process. I wanted our own tobacco. I wanted to source everything from the farm to your mouth. I didn't want to take any shortcuts. So that's the way we got started.
Cigar smoking, the cigar atmosphere is a lifestyle. It's something that you gotta not only get into, but you gotta learn. And so we started from the bottom. We learned about it. We're steady growing, but we got so much more information that we can pass on, and so much more business aspect of it that we can give to our future customers. So
we have one of the best cigars on the market. It's because of the process we took to get there. We went to different factories, different farms, just trying to find quality, building relationships. Right now, I feel like we have the right relationships to create the right product. We have our own factory, our own rollers, our own tobacco.
In this factory, the family love working every day the cigar. All the people that we have here love your job and put your love in every cigar that we do here. For this reason, we are a factory that has best quality cigar, because all material that you use is planting, growing in the air of the most fine tobacco in the world. The Premium Cigar is a cigar that have large filler, have a Cuban binder, and have a Dominican wrapper. All the people that work here have big experience. In this moment, this roller is putting the leaf in your hands. The leaf that we use is different countries. Different countries give you different flavors. He use a binder for put the filler, and start the process. You can see that he closed.
We have an aging process, so any cigar that you take of ours has been aged for at least 7 years, 7 to 10 years. We're getting this aged tobacco. Everything we do, we try to do it. We try to be perfectionists. Even though we feel like we have a great product right now, we're always out here trying to get better. We're always trying to do more.
The flavor process is a very long and complicated process because each tobacco is unique. So you need to know actually how to get them together, mix them to provide the flavor that you're actually looking for. And that is the reason why it's very hard to keep a flavor. So you have to make sure that of the quantity of the tobacco that you're putting together and how you mix them, just to provide the flavor that you're looking for.
Another thing that we do is we create labels for other companies. So if you guys are out there and you have a label, you know it's a white label, you know you took a shortcut, come to us so we can get your complete cigar. You get what I'm saying? You get your own brand, your own tobacco, your own flavor profile. You know what I'm saying? Not somebody else's that you're just slapping a label on.
Come learn about cigars. We've been partnering with some good other people, good other brothers, and we just want to take off with it.
It's kind of been trial and error, but right now we feel like we have a very good quality product, top of the line product. It took us probably about 2 years to get here, but right now we feel like we have some of the best cigars on the market. You know, and if you give us a chance, you'll find out.
All right. Shout out to Ella Louise Cigars, man, the official sponsor of Black Man Travels. Very good brothers, man. Guys, do me a favor, go and support. Hit the link in the description. You know, try out some cigars. Very good quality cigars from the Dominican Republic. These guys definitely did their due diligence in making very, very good quality cigars, man. So check them out. You can follow them on Instagram at Ella Louise Cigars, and you can go to their website, ellalouise1927.com. So we got a big topic today, man. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. I like his content. I've been on him early on before he even had a YouTube channel. He used to go into BGS hangouts. They had them 8-hour hangouts, man, and very good talking points with the brother. I want to say this first and foremost to put this in context, guys. I agree with about 99% of what Kevin Samuels is saying. The brother is well read. Of course, he's well dressed, as you can see. I took some tips on him. You know, the colognes I have right now are from what he mentions on his channels and the videos that he did. So I just want to put that in context that I'm not critiquing him as a man or anything, because he has a lot of good talking points, man, first and foremost. But I just had not even some issues or disagreements, but when I watched some of the videos, I didn't watch all of them because I'm so busy getting a new office together, but I did see a few clips of the Men's Week, and I just felt like the way he set up the show, the men didn't really have a good say in what he was saying, basically, because the way he set up the show was, if you have a disagreement with me, call in. So when you set a show up like that, if it's your platform and you say, hey guys, call in if you disagree with me, then you're going to attack them when they try to just give their simple opinion. So I really want a brother's opinion, especially brothers that travel the world, opinion on this whole high value male phenomenon that's going on right now within the Black community, within, you know, his channel and his movement. And I just want to discuss it. You know, like I said, I agree with 99% of what Kevin Samuels is saying, but where I disagree at is that by Black men collectively becoming quote unquote high value, and high value is all up to your perception to a certain degree. I see that he has, you know, 6 figures, network. I understand all that, but this is my opinion. You know, as a traveling brother around the world, you know, as a somewhat successful guy, you know, I had a nice house in Atlanta and everything before I moved here to Columbia. I made pretty good money, and I still was struggling in the dating scene. And a lot of my friends within this network that I had, even in Atlanta, we're still going through trials and tribulations dating. All right. And Atlanta is supposed to be the Mecca, the hub, you know, of the new Black Renaissance, the Black Wall Street. Shout out to Stone Crest, one of my old cities that I used to live in. They're building a big Black Wall Street thing out there in Latonia, Georgia. Shout out to them, man, or right next to Latonia, Georgia. I think they separated from Latonia. So I want to take that away from anything, but I will say this. It's just my opinion. I'm going to bring some guys on the panel to voice their opinions. If you think that becoming a high value male collectively will earn the respect of American women, Black women in particular, please come on the show. We can chop it up to discuss that. But I want to quote something that Rashawn Ali said. And shout out to Rashawn Ali. I would like to play the clip here on the show, but I didn't have the rights to it, and I couldn't find it at the last minute. When she was mentioning about bringing Black family together, she always goes in on how the black woman views the black man. That's the number one thing. And when she was mentioning the things to correct the black family structure, because believe it or not, money does not determine relationships. Money doesn't determine fixed culture, is what I'm trying to say. Money doesn't fix culture, fellas. And right now we have a lack of culture. We have a dysfunctional culture, in my opinion. Money does not fix that. Family fixes culture. All right? The man being in a home, you know, two-parent households builds the community. All right? Now, why is it that our grandparents or great-grandparents were married 40, 50, 60 plus years? All right? These were not high-value men, fellas. A lot of our grandparents might have been plumbers, might have been tradesmen, might have been drivers, might have been warehouse workers, okay? But somehow they was able to come together within that relationship, raise their families, stay together, 40, 50-year marriages without having to be a multi-millionaire, without having to be a six-figure guy. But now you see people, black people, some black people have money, you know, black people are good at financing, you know, credit, all that good stuff. And our relationships do not work out. Why? Because money doesn't fix things, bro. Money can be a band-aid. It can attract a woman, you know, to a certain degree. Granted, right? You're playing in a different field. Of course, I'm not saying that you're not. Brothers that have money, that have networks, that have wealth, that have access to wealth, that have access to finances. Yeah, you're going to be dating maybe a certain caliber of women to a certain degree. But the way that American women, black women in particular, view you, right? Because she comes from a broken home, because she doesn't have a male figure, right? She has no idea what she's dating. You got men, shout out to King Sigma, right? That spun 70 children between the three of them. These are not high-value males, fellas. A lot of women wouldn't even know what to do with a quote-unquote high-value male. And what is a high-value male? Because I'm going to tell you right now, shout out to my bro Citizen Lou, who I'm about to bring on to the channel right now. Me and Citizen Lou lifestyle out here in Colombia could be possibly much better than a brother making 6-7 figures in America. Why do I say that? Because the women out here are submissive. The women out here are different than American women. And it's not all about money. It's about building the relationship. It's about building that trust. I'm not saying women overseas are just 10 times better than women in America. The core of women are the same. But when a brother calls in into the Kevin Samuels show and say that, hey, man, sisters are a little different, and then Kevin Samuels say what makes them different, it's a lot of things that make black women different, right? And I don't have to point it out. Another black woman to point it out. Older black women to point it out, all right? That these women are coming from a majority broken homes. And you're not going to fix that by coming in there making 6-7 figures. This is my opinion now. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Citizen Lou. Citizen Lou, come back in. Go ahead. Shout out to Only Scam. He says he's right. The problem is the culture. Shout out to the one JPTV. He says my image of an HVM has character, integrity, and resources, not just resources. Let's talk about guidance for a second, fellas. All right. Let's talk about guidance, male guidance, being the head of the home. Now, once again, I agree with 99% of what Men's Week was in Kevin Samuels about, you know, improving yourself, you know, not being satisfied, maybe starting your business, about, you know, getting in shape, working out. One thing I will agree with him with is about, you know, a lot of black men in the newer generation have not been in physical altercations. They run and go get a gun and stuff like that. I will agree with that, man, because I grew up personally fighting every single day in Southwest Atlanta. Every single day. And I asked some of these guys sometimes, because, you know, 1994, 95, 93, the guns came out, things changed drastically. Nothing you can do about that. Most of these cats, tune them up, they're going to run and get a gun. Granted. So I agree with Kevin when he says that fighting, growing up fighting does mold you to be a little more confident, all right? It helps masculinity a lot. Beating somebody up or winning a guy, especially beating somebody bigger than you, does kind of develop you, especially when you're young. I'm not talking about grown men. Grown men don't need to be fighting nothing like that. I'm saying growing up. I do see a level of masculinity that has been tempered down by society. I will agree with that. Because, and I ask guys, I'm like, bro, you ever been in a fight before? You know, you talk to some of the guys, they be like, no, I ain't never been in a fight before. I'm like, how's that possible? How's that possible? That doesn't make me more man than anybody else, but it does develop character when you take down somebody that's bigger than you. Because now you say, okay, I took that guy down. Now you rolling around with a little more confidence, and women like stuff like that. You know, women like confident, masculine men that they feel like can protect them. Because the name of the game, truthfully speaking, is protection and provision, which has been taken away from black men to a certain degree. Let me go ahead and bring my boy Citizen Lou in before I talk too much, guys. Let me go ahead and bring him on in. Citizen Lou, what's good, brother?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
How's everything going? We had a long conversation about this yesterday, man.
Yeah, I know, man. It was a great conversation, so I had to definitely come on here because I was, you know, I don't really watch Kevin Samuels that much, but I did see, you know, highlights and clips, you know, the men's week, and yeah, man. I mean, you just hitting it on the head. You firing on all cylinders, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The thing I had like a little bit of an issue with is the way he set up the show. You know, when I set up the show, you know, once we get to rolling, I tell brothers, hey man, if you disagree, you know, call in. But I don't attack them for the wording that they use, because I felt like some brothers were nervous about maybe being on camera. It's like he puts you on trial a little bit. You know, he goes into your interior. What do you do for a living? This, that, and the other. And I'm like, okay, are we talking about what this guy particularly does for a living, or are we talking about the actual subject at hand? Because the guys I'm calling in had some very valid points. The thing about this week, he did it strategically to take the pressure off the women, in my opinion, by criticizing the men. Now, let's be honest. Let's be honest, Citizen Lou. If we go into Kevin Samuels' background, shout out to Kevin Samuels. If we go into Kevin Samuels' background, he's becoming high value when? At what point did this man become high value?
Probably like 2 years, like last year, right? I mean, we got the evidence, you know. But see, you know, they called me a hater for that, Aaron, when I brought that up. Mm-hmm. You know, because my whole thing is, bro. I'm you know what? That's a good point. What you just said. Is that you?
Yeah, that's me. Go ahead, brother.
My bad. Look, bro. He said on a Obsidian show one time that black women were the least appealing visually, or something like that. Like facially, black women are like the least appealing. So, you know, when you hear him say things like that in the past, and then now, you know, black men are saying that black women are different and we have a different playbook for black women. You know, now he's saying, what makes them different? What? See, I wish I would have seen a little bit more. Though I don't want to just throw things out. But you're right though, bro. We do have a more specific, more sinister theme about our situation. It's not just making. If anything, bro. Oh man, I meant to send you this thing. A girl in Africa just killed her sugar daddy. Let me send you the link real quick on your phone. Mm-hmm. So you can pull it up. Yeah, African chick just killed her sugar daddy. He high value. I'm confused. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like what's it's more than that, bro. That's why that parameter, those metrics that he has, that's not the way to do it.
That's right here.
I saw the background. Hey, that's what's up. Hey, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like he's kind of somewhat. I'm not saying he's pushing men to be pretty much sugar daddies to a certain degree, but when the sole focus is just so much on you know resources and saying that like you know money can fix the problems that we have socially in the community. I just totally disagree with that.
Yeah, man, because it's like. This is what's so strange. So remember that book I told you about, Wealth and Poverty, like a while ago? Bro, it's not you get the money, then the family. It's you get the family, then the money. Mm-hmm. That's not how, you see what I'm saying? You get the family and build, then you get the money. It's not you get the money, then get a family. No, bro, that's like you said, that's some sugar daddy type advice, bro. I don't know, bro. Mm-hmm. And you know another thing too, man. I think he really sells a lot of cats' dreams, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole if you just make money, you'll get a young. You know, I'm a young dude, and you know, I'm just like, bro, come on, bro. Like, you really think that just because you make a certain amount of money, you could just pull chicks and then won't be on some sugar daddy type stuff? Come on, bro.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely,
I got
man.
some brothers on the panel. What's up, man?
Body Thug, what's up, brother? You there?
What's up, fellas? How you doing? Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up? How y'all doing?
I think I saw you on the Bernard. Was you in the chat in the Bernard Raleigh show?
Yeah, I'll be over there
that too.
Yeah, I'll be over there too sometimes. Yeah. Well, a lot of times I'll be over there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we was in the chat at the same time when the brother had came on, and he was making some valid points, in my opinion.
Which one was that?
I want to say that he was saying that he was saying that there was some differences because of our social structure in America. That, you know, high value, you know, money won't fix our situation. I believe that's what he was saying.
Okay. No, I agree with that. Money won't fix our situation alone. I totally agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is about money is a tool. Let's go back to Scarface. First you get the money, then you get the power. And you know, and the rest of it basically takes care of itself. But the thing is about us black men as a black community is the power piece and the money piece. The average, what is it? We in the manosphere, we talk about the average black man makes what, around $41,000 a year.
Exactly.
And you know, which is middle class, but let's be for real, that's not cutting it. We can do a lot better than what we're doing at that 41,000 mark. Me, myself, I think because of our history and our past and us being a black men and our image and everything, we need to be making almost $15,000, $20,000 more than what we're making. It's possible. I'm talking about on average. It's possible, but it's a long haul. But going back to what we were saying about the high value piece, I don't think Kevin Samuels, when I watch him, I don't think Kevin Samuels is saying you have to, once you become high value, all your problems of the world is going to go away, and that includes women. That's not the issue. I think it's more or less high value, which is what the top 5% or 1% of men or something like that, of black men. It's about leverage. It's about, you know, having leverage in life, having connections in life that once you do take a fall or something like that, take an L, either whether it's in relationships or whether it's in business, you have that network and you have that, I guess, the bank account to where you can recover a lot better. You lose a chick, she takes you for half your stuff. You're not here bitching and complaining about the kill yourself because this chick up and left you. You know, all right, I took a level up there, but I got enough money, I got enough network, I got enough net worth that I can recover faster. You know what I'm saying? And right, I don't know if any of you guys disagree with that, but go ahead.
No, I actually got a couple of rebuttals, brother. So, you know, when you say that, you know, like when I said black men make 41,000, let me ask you this. Where do the majority of black men live in America?
Where did the majority?
Yeah, the majority of black men in America.
I wouldn't know. Maybe the South.
Right.
South
no, you're right. The South. No, you're right. The
South and Midwest to the East. Yeah.
So that's what I like to bring up because it's like majority of black men live in a lower cost of living area. You know, that stat is a little bit off. You know, it's like, okay, it's 41, but 41 in Mississippi, 41 in Alabama, 41, you know what I'm saying? Certain parts of Florida. Because Florida's not just Miami. I'm not talking about you. I'm just bringing it up.
Right. You're talking about northern, the Panhandle, all that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Georgia, outside Atlanta. And another thing, too, we make more money than Hispanic men. Right? So, but they're married in droves. So
married, go home to a warm meal every day, house clean.
Ooh, do y'all want me to touch the third rail?
That he touches on that point though. Kevin Samuels, how you brothers doing?
What's up,
but
bro?
he touches on that point when you touch right there when you know Jose, he can go ahead and come over the border and his woman gonna go ahead and still be submissive and all those things, but we can't get Keisha to be right. So he talks about that, and you brothers brought that up, is that it's culturally, it's the household thing. If you haven't had a man in a household to respect in the first, if you haven't had the experience of a man giving his opinion, a man how he walks, coming from a baby on up, and the habits of him, having a dialogue with the mother in the home, all these small nuances, then it's going to be foreign to these women when they grow into the world, and the media is raising them to say, okay, if you have such and such, if you have these type of resources, then I can give you, and it's made to be materialistic, but it's about the characteristics of a person in other nations, like when you're talking about in Colombia, or if you're talking about someplace over out in the East somewhere, when you're dealing with different cultures versus, now I don't want to say black, it's a Western American thing, but we're focused on our people, and that's what he's focused on. That's what he's talking about. So when you talk about, hey, we make more than men, yeah, sure, that's great. But I think also to another extent, I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit when you talk about the 40. I don't think he's talking about high value. He says high value as far as 100,000, as far as I understand, based on how society generated what success is. So that's not his personal number. That's just how he views what society demands as high value. But to your point, Black Men Travelers, love the channel. You can be in Colombia and have a better quality of life for a variety of reasons. But like with you, with Black Men Travels, you have a network of black men where you all support each other and give each other value to uplift each other. And not only that, but to give that information, that value, so we can uplift ourselves. So to go back to the Mississippi point, these brothers in 2021 don't have to stay in Mississippi, don't have to stay in Alabama, don't have to stay in Arkansas. Just like this brother says, we don't have to stay in the U.S. So everybody has the opportunity. I just made, let me get my phone. My son got my phone. I just made $1,000 on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin went up.
No. On trading it. I'm saying on trading it. On trading on MetaTrader. You know what I'm saying? Sun went down. I bought and got it, buy on the dip, and went up. And this is information I'm learning off of YouTube. That's all I'm saying. If we put that extra onus on learning other things, you've brought us so many times in the financial space on this channel saying we just got to challenge ourselves and learn all these different things and put it all together and share the information. We don't have to be in these rural spots where we can, have these, I don't want to say excuses, but anecdotes to where it's like, well, the average man here don't get that. Why can't we get that? Let's stop giving reasons why we can't. There's way more on the flip side, opportunities of where we can get our foot in the door and create our own opportunities. And I think that's where the challenge is with us as black men in America. I don't mean to hold the soapbox, but because we're in another man's country, we're in a white man's country. We're not seen as the upper echelon because it's not ours. We don't do a lot of building. See, 100 years ago, 1919, we did a lot of building. We had our own. We were better off as a people, black people. I'm not talking about socialism. I'm just talking about having our own and building our own economy and having some value and some wealth and some pride 100 years ago than we do now. We had more, and to Kevin Samuel's point, back then we kept our relationships. It didn't matter if Papa was a Rolling Stone because it was about duty. It was about value. That's what marriage was about. It wasn't about Saweetie and whatever mess going on with the Migos and whatever other BS going on in the media. But this is what the daughters is picking up. I grew up watching MTV Jams with my sister. Point taken. They raised us.
Exactly. I want to talk to that point, man. You make some very good, valid points. Like I say, I agree with 99% of what Kevin Samuels is saying, even when it comes down to, he mentioned the thugification of, the black community through music, CD music and everything like that. The father not being away from the home. You got all these black female rappers now coming out, all this ratchet type of music, which has influenced younger women to go down that unfortunate lifestyle. I agree with that. But we have to understand, man, that, this channel is all about male self-improvement, getting money. We talk about money. We have Money Talk Tuesdays almost every week. We talk about crypto. That's not what we're talking about here necessarily. We're talking about the fact that, he's putting that out there in the space that if black men do get together collectively, that we will earn the respect of our women, which is where the disagreement comes in.
Gotcha. That's what. Well,
because I do believe that, yeah, as collectively, we can definitely do better. And that's where, like, yeah, man, we need to sharpen these skills. We have to build with each other. That's number one. We have to correct the relationship of distrust that Black men have with each other. This is why I imply brothers to go overseas, because the language automatically bonds you. It's almost like when you come overseas, you're automatically segregated to a certain degree because you're not a foreigner. You're not from that country. I don't care if it's Africa or not. Wherever country, you're going to be Black American or American. That's what you're going to be, bro. So that's bonds you, and it's fortunate because a lot of that, the social trauma that we have with each other, it's like it's eliminated when you go overseas because you really know that Citizen Lou is all I got out here. My brother, you know, is all I got out here in Colombia. You know what I mean? So we're going to bond together. We're going to build together. This is why I implore brothers to go overseas. And on top of that, what we talked about yesterday, Citizen Lou, how brothers with money, these high-value men, almost rotate the same women, right?
Yep.
You got what's her name? Laura Harvey. She goes from Diddy to Future to these guys run in the same little circles, dating each other's past women for some reason. Why me and Citizen Lou, look at our lifestyle. We don't make, make a lot of money to have a basic necessity within a woman. Come on, bro.
No, I agree with that. You don't. Oh, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, bro.
No, you good. I was, and I definitely don't want to come off like I'm saying black. I want Black men to make as much money as possible. I do want Black men in trades. I do want Black men in tech and infrastructure, supporting type roles where they're building as well. I was just kind of bringing up the point that, because like I'm in software, right? And they had a report. If you make $85K in Austin, Texas, that's $216K in San Francisco, right? It's just kind of so like that's what I'm just saying. Like you kind of gotta get to the nitty gritties of like that salary number. And my whole point is back to that book I was talking about. It's really better to have a woman and then have a family and then kind of build around that family into building that. That's how you kind of look at the Rothschilds. Nathan Rothschild, after he finessed the the French or whatever, he told everybody that Napoleon won when he didn't, and he shorted the the pound, whatever dollar France used. Then he got all that money, and then he gave, he set up banks for his 5 children, and that's how they blew that thing up to what they have now. So that's my whole thing. It's like, you see what I'm saying, brother? Like that's my whole point in that regard. But like I said, I don't want to come off like I'm making excuses. And the last point is, we got to stop looking at these. When you talk about high value, it's always a celebrity. It's always an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at these brothers who built something with a family. And if you look at, and then it's interesting. He don't bring up the only 3 Black billionaires that I'm aware of. Black men: Michael Jordan, Robert Smith, and Robert Johnson. They all built something with Black women, and all those Black women divorced them.
That's a good point.
I don't know. That's interesting.
He said, I don't know.
That's interesting to me.
But I mean, at the same time, with all those situations, there were another element about high value men or men in general is they got divorced, but they were also having extramarital affairs too. So a lot of Black women are not going. I don't care how much money you're making. A lot of them not going with that. And that's a difference between that and in the past, like we talked before. Yeah, back in the day, your great grandparents and stuff, or grandparents and stuff, they may have had families on the other side of town, and our grandparents or grandmothers still, stayed married to them. So that's where it goes back to the whole respect and family piece.
No, I totally agree with that. Like I said, I'm not sure, why some of these guys get divorced. I'm not going to put them that they were all cheating. Sometimes relationships probably just run its course a lot of the times for whatever reason. But
reconcile the differences,
right? Yeah.
We know what Michael Jordan was doing because we know now. We know what Bob Johnson was doing because the stories are out there. I don't know about Robert Smith, but things happen. But for whatever reason.
And then, bro, I just wanted to let you know you were completely on point, and it was relevant as far as you're talking about geography, as far as the earnings. And I agree with that. I was just simply saying, just like you were saying, in one area is 82 and it's 200, you can go there and get that 200. That's all I was saying. We have the ability to change the narrative ourselves and to take that action for ourselves. That's all. But you absolutely right. It's all relative. And yeah, and I agree that you don't need to have. I mean, I work at Chrysler. I'm in Detroit. I'm in Detroit, Michigan. 30 years old, working on my own value, getting my stuff together. I'm married. I have 2 boys, 9 and 2. So no, I don't consider myself high value yet. I'm not even. I don't consider myself a full grown man. I'm getting there though. I'm about. It's about learning and getting to that point. But I agree. I mean, there are other characteristics before you get to the money or aside from the money, and I think that's why Kevin Samuels makes that distinction with celebrities and these others, because they can get easy access to the money, but they don't have the other characteristics that will make them high value. So it's not just about the money. And so to get the sisters' respect, as far as it don't have nothing to do with money per se, but having that leverage, like the brother said earlier, gives you more options. And I think that's the whole point about it. It's about having the options, because just I don't know, let's just make an example. Let's just have use our imaginations a bit, and let's just say 51% of black men became high value, right? Let's just flip it overnight. We have the options. We can pick and choose if we want Marisol, if we want Becky, or if we want Lynn, or if we want whoever we want, right? We can go to Colombia, we can go to Brazil, we can go to Thailand, we go wherever we want. We can get our pick of the world. The world's our oyster at that point. What they got to do? They're gonna have to humble themselves, because with Kevin Samuels, I love that he uses data and not his feelings. A lot of times when he's talking about these relationships, and when he talks about the statistics of other races marrying black women, other racial, they're not doing it. So if you're not marrying us and you're not marrying outside your race, they'll likely go ahead and marry a white woman. White man's gonna marry a white woman more than likely. Asian man's gonna marry an Asian woman more likely, so and so and so forth. So if we're swirling because you won't come to terms or give the respect that's due, which we shouldn't ask for, because another point he makes out, in every other nation, who's the backbone of the nation? The men. But if you ask Black America, they say it's the woman's the backbone.
Right.
And he always asks the question, Black women, do you belong to Black men? And they'll say no, refutably. And also the high value men, 100,000, that's them that's saying that they want that. A few sisters may come in and say, a brother making 40, 50, whatever, we can work on it, bring mine to the table. They're slim pickings. But a lot of them, they just going off of what they see. They just hear 100,000, they just hear 6 figures, and they just jump and they say, well, why do you think you deserve that? I just feel I deserve it because and this ain't a bunch of nothing. So we're on point when we all, I think we all agree that you don't necessarily need to have that money and be high value, because who's that billionaire that hung himself, right?
John
all
McAfee.
That stuff going on, friends with Epstein.
John McAfee.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Are you talking about Epstein? You talking about
Epstein? Oh yeah. Rich did a mug. There's all kind of wild stuff going on, right?
Oh yeah.
So your money don't determine your morals. Like I think T.I. had a song that say you piss poor morally. Like some people are piss poor when it comes to morals, and money don't change that.
True.
So you build those characteristics and those nuances on the way to it, and it takes brothers like us to do it. And my son, seeing me as the example, I was telling my son to get his brother, because I'm having a conversation with some brothers on YouTube, so I can go back and show them this junk. Like, okay, brothers is networking. I was talking to some brothers at work. I want us, just like y'all got me motivated to be like, yo, yeah, we need to stop treating each other, competing against each other, and build with each other. So that's just my take on it. I agree with the money thing, and I agree with the culture thing. I just think I don't think he's just basing it out on certain things. I think he's just playing the women that say they want these things into a position. You say y'all want these things, but the people that have these things, what do they want from the women that say they want them?
Good point. Very good point. And the guy you talking about that you had mentioned, Citizen Lou, was it John McAfee?
Yeah, the guy who did the virus software. He
the McAfee software. Yeah.
Yeah.
He committed suicide, even though he told everybody he was not going to commit suicide.
Right.
He's about to get extradited.
Yeah, he's about to get extradited to the U.S. and he was married to a black woman. Actually, he was married to a sister.
Really?
Yeah,
he was. She was ratchet as hell too.
I don't know about that. I don't know, man.
And she riding for her dude, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I say, man. For the most part, man, I do believe Kevin Samuels is doing good work. I agree with a lot of stuff that he's saying. He's well read. I hear him making quotes out of Art of Seduction, 48 Laws of Power, stuff like that. So he's giving really good information out there. It's just, in that particular sense that in Bernard, shout out to Bernard Riley. I was looking at the Bernard Riley show, and that kind of spawned this show right here when the brother had called in. And, when the brother was basically mentioning that, because brothers were calling in and they was giving his opinion. I think so many people are like behind Kevin Samuels that you have to agree with every single thing that he says. No, there are some differences between our women and other races of women, period, because of the background, the history.
Yeah.
I think Bernard Riley said, not Bernard Riley, but Obsidian said that he had helped 10 black marriages. I'm like, bro, 10? That's it? That's simply not enough. That's not going to cut it. When you really need, it's going to be a hard fix. I think you're $1 late and a day short when it comes to the black community at this point, bro. I think Kevin Samuels, for the most part, besides critiquing the men and trying to get brothers to self-improve and women to a certain degree, I really feel like it's entertainment at this point, man.
It is.
These conversations should have been had in the 90s, bro, when things were still a little manageable, bro. Like, you can still talk and negotiate with a sister to a certain degree and say, hey, baby, we're going to do it like this, right? But now with all the Black Girls Rock and all this other stuff, man,
Black Girl Magic.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult, bro. And I'm not saying that you can't have a good relationship with one. I'm not saying that. I just say the majority do not believe that, making more money, because all these brothers in Atlanta got money, bro. Guess where they trying to come? And I'm coming to Colombia, bro. We going to be back in Brazil, bro. They trying to come here.
Right.
Because relationships simply don't work out. I remember when me and my brother, we had bought a big house off Camp Creek. It was like $300,000 on the house, right? And, proud little moment for, two brothers, we went in on a home. And the first woman I brought over there, bro, before I met her at a little bar. But anyway, I met her at a little bar or something, right? And she comes home and whatnot. And I didn't even know this chick last name, bro. She's already asked me how much I paid for the house.
Oh, damn.
What do you do for a living and stuff like that. I'm sitting here like, I don't even know your last name yet. How you doing? Because in her mind, she wants to know if she can afford a house like that. She wants to compete.
Wow.
Now, a lot of our women they really want to compete with us more than they want to bond and build with us, unfortunately.
Right, that's
just
true.
The realness of it.
Yeah, you hit it right there. Anybody
shout
want
out
to
to Drew Sato for the $5 super chat. He says, "One love, bros. Hate to be pessimistic, but it's too far gone. Kevin is the last point of reference for these ladies to get together. Last SYSBM." I agree. Totally agree. Appreciate that super chat, man. Oh, by the way, brothers, if you in Medellin, man, I know some of you brothers are in Medellin right now, man. I'm gonna be. My birthday is tomorrow, so I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday. Appreciate that, bro. I'm gonna be celebrating my birthday at Vibes Rooftop Lounge on top of Epic Hotel, man. So pull up if you out here, man. Or hit your super chat button for your boy. Buy your boy a Club Columbia or something.
Chat.
And we're gonna turn up. But go ahead, brothers.
Well, can I speak on what you just last said about basically it's too late for for black women and whatnot, and what Kevin's doing. Another, I don't know if I can mention another show. I ain't gonna mention another show, but there is another show out there that's also speaking to women, but the demographic of women they're speaking to is younger. And I felt like with KS, everybody's calling on this show like in their 30s and 40s. It's too late for them. Lepers can't change the spot at that point. But what do you think of the aspect of dealing with younger women? and having those conversations.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've seen a couple of YouTube channels with younger women really being on Kevin Samuel's side. So I do think you can work with them more because it's very hard to mold hard clay. And you talking to younger women that really, some of them are more about the love and the relationship more so than the money. Some women can see more of a potential in you than women that's like in their 30s that already want you to have it for some reason. Some women in their 30s expect you to already be a multi-millionaire or whatnot, right? So I do believe that's a better play, man. I believe dating younger women and traveling is a better play. Now I will say this: unfortunately, in America, the little social, thing is like dating women around your own age, unfortunately. And a lot of these older mothers that have these daughters, that's 2021, they will steer them towards dudes in the streets a little bit. You know how it goes. They'll be like, nah, date little Pookie, have your fun, girl. And then they end up having a baby. And then now you come along, high value, you got your stuff together, older guy, and now you got to deal with that whole stepdad situation. So that's the difficult part, in my opinion. Hey, man, shout out to Dusty for the $50 super chat. I appreciate that, brother. He says, Bob Bottle, happy birthday. Appreciate that, brother. I will. Appreciate that.
If I could chime in, brothers.
Go ahead.
To the conversation, man. This is a great topic right here. I just want to say, starting off, BMT, I love your show, man. I tune in all the time. I love how you are bringing brothers, the travel community together with other content creators that are talking about the travel, which is a beautiful thing, man. And I want to say about this whole thing. Now, I'm a guy that I got married when I was 24, 25, right?
Wow.
I was making like $35,000 a year doing detail work, right? My wife was making $65,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Now, I was 25, she was 27. Now, when we talk about high value, we have to understand that it comes from a place where the man is totally sure of himself. He has a swag that cannot be denied. That's, to me, high value. Like when you go, say for instance, you go to somebody have a house party or a Super Bowl party, right? And you go over there, you could tell the brothers in the room that they give off that sure masculine energy, right? You can tell. So this is how I look at it. Now the money, the muscles, the cars, the ability to travel, all that is icing on the cake. Because at the end of the day, if you can't impress that woman with how your countenance, who you are, how you stand, and what that energy that she feels, it ain't, it's gonna always collapse. Because women, they got that sense. You know what I'm saying? They can tell, they can smell a masculine man. You feel me? So it ain't like when Kevin says it's about your money, your career, how much you're making every 6 months, or how much you got to sustain every some. I don't buy that, because he just became considered high value the last couple of years on YouTube. Because before that, what was he doing? He was on, you check his resume all the way back, man. He was wearing, bow ties and sweater vests trying to promote cologne. Now he's debonair, got his tuxedo on, looking fly, got the lights, the setting. And one thing I do like about Kevin Samuels is that he gets on the women in the right way to make them, he traps them. It's like chess. I love that, because women
I like that too.
are master manipulators and chess players, right? So they love moving the goalposts. But Kevin makes sure it's 1st and 10, okay? So they can't do nothing but run the play, right? So when he traps them like that, it's an interception every time. That's what it gets me, because when he stopped, you notice how every time he catches a woman in a lie or no accountability, what do? They freeze up, they look off, they can't even believe what just happened, because they're so used to being manipulators and liars. Now, I stayed married 25 years.
Oh, nice.
My wife
Congratulations, brother.
In 2015. God rest her soul. But
Man.
the whole time we was married, she looked at me as her king, head of the household, even though I made less money. So when I said, this is what
That's
we're going to
real.
do with the money, this is how we're going to run this house, she got in line with that. See, now, she, look, I'm 49, so if you consider us old school, so be it. But we really Generation X. Generation X had a lot of trifling people. It's a lot of trifling people in Generation X. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and what I do
true.
is on
That's
my
facts.
on my channel, I got a show talking about how you're not marriage material, and I break it down to women that you have to present yourself in a way that it's no doubt you're gonna get picked. You know, this thing about when women say, "Oh, she a pick me." Look, you want the pick me's. The pick me's are the best ones. The pick me's are the ones that said, "Look, I'm preparing myself to receive a king." Okay, I'm not out here with my ass hanging out. I'm sorry, on IG showing everything I got. You know, just playing your. You know how you play spades? They playing their spades early. You know what I'm saying? They ain't even trying to win no books. They just willy-nilly with it. You know what I'm saying? So this is how a lot of women are losing, and have Kevin Samuels say they're gonna die alone because they're not wifey material. A woman has to want that. She has to want a man in her life. See, what these women be doing is they pick a guy, use him up, then try to get out of it with a divorce or some type of crazy action or something stupid, right?
Very good point.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're abusing the respect that comes with marriage. You got to be mature to be married. You can't be no chump as a man. You can't be no chump. You got to go in putting it down, letting her know, because a woman she gonna SHIT test you. Okay, I was with mine 25 years. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say she didn't give me no test like that. But she didn't do nothing nuclear to where she went and cheated, because one thing I did, and I tell this to everybody, and I made a show about this, I ripped them guts apart 4 times a week, 16 times a month, 25 years. I got the receipts to prove it. Because here's the thing, this is what I did as a man. I said, look, the only way that we're gonna do this and do this right is if you let me run the play and let me quarterback this thing. And one of the things I said was, we're gonna put our money together. You're gonna give me them draws every time I ask for them. Unless it's down for maintenance, unless the park is down for maintenance, I want them draws. If you don't give me them draws,
hey, the park is down for maintenance.
For maintenance.
She tried it. Like year 6 or 7, she tried to do a test to see if she could ration me. I cheated. Okay? I'm gonna be real. I cheated. But we squashed it. And I let her know. I said, you see what happened? See what happened when you try to ration me? And you ain't sticking to the vows. The vows say for better or for worse. The for better part is my ability to come home and pull this thing out and you get down on it. Now, the worst part is the fact that I cheated. So it's for better or for worse. You got to work it out. But see, a lot of people ain't with that. They don't understand how to operate in this thing. It's a serious game. It ain't no, I just want to check in and check out. You can't do it like that. You won't get no blessings. Look, my wife passed away in 2015. I ain't seen nothing but blessings since she been gone, because we stayed married. You understand? You got to stick it out. You got to be a man and put it down and say, look, this is how it's gonna go. I don't care nothing about what your mama say, what your daddy say, what my mama say, what my daddy say. That's what I did. I shielded the house.
I like that.
You know what happened?
I like that.
Her mom was a narcissist from hell. She would always try to manipulate and try to tear her down and make her feel little for being under me as I was running the house. So guess
was she married?
I banned her. She couldn't come.
Was her mom married?
Huh?
Was her mom married?
Yes. Her mom was married. They stayed. Check this out though. She was a narc and she abused him mentally, constantly. Okay. But what happened was, guess what? When he met me, his eyes lit up, his heart got jovial, he felt like a man again. He loved coming to see me. Okay? And I told him, anytime you want to come visit, come holler. He would get on the plane and come holler, man, and stay 2-3 weeks with me. We playing dominoes, cooking salmon and barbecue. You know what I'm saying? He loved it, man. So he knew that his son-in-law was a real one. And I wasn't taking no shit from his daughter. You understand? And his daughter understood that. You see what I'm saying? And we rolled for 25 years through thick and thin. This is what a lot of people don't get about this. You can't, don't even try to sign up if you ain't ready. And don't, especially if you got a woman that's masculine coming at you, trying to run you, talking about what she ain't gonna do, man, leave that one. That's the streets. Leave that one. You know, that's Barnum and Bailey right there. You're gonna get service if you mess with that. My brother, I come from 4 boys. It's 4 of us total. My oldest brother dealt with 3 baby mothers. Okay?
Never.
Baby mama terrorists. And I'm supposed to holler my boy, Mr. Palmer. Shout out to Judge Palmer. We're supposed to be doing a show about that. And I got receipts that's gonna break your heart because my brother died of a massive heart attack at 50.
Oh wow!
2 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So, man, look, this whole subject, it needs to be discussed. But here's what about Kevin that he needs to do. He get off the men. Okay, we already know the black man is beat down. Leave him alone. All those guys that came on the show, they were confused. They weren't simps. They were confused. Okay, a lot of those brothers were confused because they don't understand this modern woman. Kevin needs to keep opening the can of whoop on these women because what's happening is now they got their little reaction videos about him getting on the men, totally detracting the whole message. He need to get back on them.
Bro, you make a very hold on, bro. I want to say you make a very good point there. Very good point because he does detract from the message with them. The thing about black men, man, is pressure builds the diamond, bro. And keep in mind that personally, Kevin Samuel just got his stuff together a couple of years ago. So if you're talking to a 25, 28, even 30-year-old, 32-year-old brother, it takes up some time. Any man, at any rate, takes some time to find yourself, bro. So I say it takes some time, man. Yeah, we can self-improve, but once again, pressure builds the diamond. I want to shout out to Bello Gino for the $5 super chat. He says, in the squares, which I am, I think Kevin Samuels is giving them the hack into alpha masculine street game. Money can't give you a mouthpiece.
Nope, we can't.
Once again, with the $5 super chat from Bello Gino, it says, in the States, it's all about can you get the box wet or not. Your money won't get it wet. She'll go enjoy it with Trey, the backbreaker. Good point.
You know something else, Black Man Travel. I just want to say right quick about with Kevin Samuels. You notice how when he tried to get the ladies, be presentable, take the bonnets off. Let's do this professional. Let's talk about this. You see how they push back. You see, this is a psychosis going on with black women. Okay, they are so burnt on black men and swirling and want to get away from us and all that. Let them go, because it's more. Check it out. We have more babies than everybody on the planet, so it's more being born. Don't worry about it. You see what I'm saying? And there's still some out there that if you just want to smash. But I'm just saying, these ones that's in this stage of, I don't need no man. You can't tell me what to do. I want a partnership, not a marriage. Don't avoid those. Avoid them like a plague.
And that's important. One thing that the Men's Week has brought out is, Kevin Simmons, he's talked to dudes prior to last year, for several years. And I think it's always a good conversation to talk to men. It is the manosphere, so we should be talking to men. What he did over the last year or so was a great thing as far as like talking to women directly and highlighting that.
We need that though.
But I think we all could have used, or we know some people that could have used Kevin Samuels when we were 20 something. You know what I'm saying? And instead of trying to get all, some brothers out there in Atlanta, we know what we doing in Atlanta, what they were doing in Atlanta, man. You know what I'm saying? Hollering at these chicks when we should be hollering about, hey, getting this money right, not focusing on that, setting ourselves up so when we turn 30 something, or when we're in our late or mid 20s, hey, we got our passport and we are traveling and going to seeing the world. And when you see the world, it opens your mind up to so much more. It gives you a better sense of who you are as a man, as a person on this earth, and actually your value and your worth and what you need to be doing as far as setting yourself up as a man. Traveling does that, and having that ability to do so, because if you don't have the money to travel somewhere, wait till you get your money up and go somewhere so you can do it right. But you do need to see the world, and having those conversations I think is important. Go ahead.
I think we need Kevin Samuels, because who else we got coming at these females besides Minister Jack? We got a lot of Manosphere brothers that's strictly talking to men. I get that. You know what I'm saying? We're getting a lot of that. Then we got the travel community with BMT, One Master Teacher, Citizen Lou, and all you guys here. So we do need all angles being attacked, because that angle of the female, that one is that's a tipping point right there. Because even if we get like you said, self-improvement and travel and stuff, even if we get all that together, we still got a situation where some of us are asleep. Like that dude, he thought all black women are his enemy. He might feel that way, because think about it, he probably done got burned so many times. He just fed up.
But then I would ask him, does he have the passport? That's the one question I would ask him.
I hope he's watching this.
Do you have a passport?
And we need that. But I love this community right here, the travel community, because you brothers got it right. When I tapped in and started following guys that were going out of the country, that's when I knew. I said, okay, when we talk about the manosphere and free agent lifestyle and all this is where it's at. Escaping the matrix, totally detaching, unplugging, and going somewhere else, even if you just going to see it. You know what I'm saying? A mountain, a waterfall, something different. Yep. All we've seen over here is poverty, slavery, and oppression. It's time for black men to see something else.
Wait a minute, we haven't seen poverty until you go to a different country.
Exactly.
Well, we haven't seen. You haven't seen your meat
first world poverty.
Right. You haven't seen meat strung out, at a meat shop and flies all over it, but you're gonna eat that for dinner tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right. No, I dig that. I want to bring up a point that was brought up before, and it kind of touches on when you were saying that this type of discussion is important for our culture, because he's bringing up BMT brought up, he's well read, and he brings up a lot of stuff that he read from like Art of War and these other books. And another one that we can throw out there, because you're saying opinion was it might be a little bit too late to be trying to make these corrections within the relationships between black men, black women specifically. And it's just like, at least these black women are listening, women in general, but they're actually tuning in. So that's what makes it so important. I know people, kind of joke around when people, come as Kevin Samuels' defense to say, but it's just really just noticing. It's not just us, chiming in, like they are really engaging in, his content and on a regular basis by droves, calling in, even though they know what's coming, by droves consistently. And so, and he's found something in that. And I think that's important, because who else have they been listening to? Because I want to go back to the 90s, Dr. Shahrazad Ali. That's who he gets all this stuff from. Exactly. She was just on another channel. I don't know if I should mention, but she was just on another channel.
Go ahead, bro. Yeah. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews.
Yep.
And she was just still out of order. She was saying the brothers are out of order in one state, but she was saying she understands why the manosphere is important and that women are not listening. And then, like we was just bringing it up, they're in competition, with us. They're not in competition, with Billy, but what I'm saying, they want to compete with, with me and all the other brothers here. So I just wanted to make that this has been a conversation that has been going on and on and on, even with the brothers of the Nation of Islam. On and on and on and on and on and on. And you see the order that they have within that group. Even when they have their communion, the women sit on one side, the brothers sit on. It's kind of separate when you see all the ladies in white and all the brothers that's the regular congregation, they mix. But the ones that's in the group, there's order. They got their uniforms, and you can't get the black women. I know brothers, we got to get in order first because we're the leaders and they follow our example.
Good point.
But I just thought that's something that we should look at. This has been going on a long time, so. And the women were not listening to Dr. Shahrazad Ali. She got our attention like that. But the women, fighting words, right? Kevin Samuels came on, all of a sudden they're engaging mostly to try to challenge him. But the more that they do it, and we was talking about like brothers bringing out, it's like chess. They can't mess with him. You know what I'm saying? He dodging them all like Neo. So I mean, I just thought that was just an interesting.
I want
a lot of that. A lot of what's up, everybody? This is Edward. And shout out to the dude that wants to talk about. I'm gonna put on my cape for Kevin.
Yeah.
What's going on, Edward? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, anybody that knows me knows I'm here for the points. Like you know, right is right, wrong is wrong, and I'm also here for the points to get promoted or penetrate the marketplace as much as possible. I mean, you know, shout out to Kwame Brown. You know, the dudes that are doing that, you know, those are the dudes that are doing that. And you know, niggas gotta let the personality shit go.
Hey,
because these would be the same people that'll put on their cape for Tommy Sotomayor.
Edward, you heard me, bro? No cursing in the stream, bro.
Huh?
I said no cursing in the stream, bro.
Oh,
I don't want to
okay.
get demonetized.
All right. Yeah. All right. My bad.
No, you good.
But anyway, but yeah. So as far as one thing I did want to add though is a lot of this is Kevin, and so obviously it's skill, but the more important factor is the environment. If Kevin would have did this 5 years ago, this wouldn't have caught like this, even if he would have been the same person, because the environment, like these women are seeing on the ground in certain markets. Because let's keep it all at 100. Most dudes are not going overseas. Most dudes black men don't have passport. Only 20% of Americans have passports. And technically black women have more passports than black men. I'm saying that to say this. There's a lot of potential for growth. And that's also not moving the needle as far as the environment. Not yet, because there's a lot of potential for growth. But even before COVID, you had automation kicking in. You got these Z's getting older, and these Z's are not playing with these black women. They don't need to date. They don't need to go overseas. They're like, I'm just not dealing with you because you don't qualify for what I'm trying to do as far as my quality of life. You want to be like what your mama taught you, and I'm going to whatever suits me. That's why these women get upset on TikTok and stuff. And that's for younger people. So it's the environment that these women are dealing with every day that is really causing a lot of them to call in and deal with it. And then that's creating a greater conversation. So I'll leave it at that for that point. But I just wanted to add that in there what the brother was talking about.
Good point. I want to welcome the brother Bello Geno to the show. What's going on, brother?
Hey, good afternoon, fellas. Edward, man, I don't have no beef with you, man. It was just something I was just saying, just saying as far as throwing your kick for Kevin Samuels. But I don't have a problem with some of these. Don't necessarily have a huge problem with some of these talking points or whatnot. But I see some sort of, I see a little bit of problem with his vision and the things that he put out there. I think he sort of validates the matrix. He validates the matrix mentality. So I have a question for the panel, for everybody on the panel, and you guys can expound on this. Do the men in the Dominican Republic, the men in Colombia, the men in Brazil, do they have to be a high value male to get what they get?
No. Anybody else want to answer? I'm saying no. I think not.
I mean, that's obvious. It's an obvious answer. Then that's part of what Kevin Samuels talks about. What the subtle thing that he's actually doing is telling women, hey, they should be like more like foreign women as far as like how they still respect for their men, even though they don't make hundreds of $1,000s a year, because people know around the world they pretty much accept where they are in life. Black women, or westernized women, more or less, they live in a fantasy world, as we all know, and they think they're at a better place than where they really are at. So I think that takes into a full account the difference between foreign women and how they accept their men that don't make the top 1% of their country's earnings.
Yeah, and Kevin and what Kevin's doing essentially is women, he's showing women that they don't qualify for what they want. It's actually an incredible sales tactic. The problem is with the dude that brought that up, and this is because the way you're thinking about it is the way a lot of manosphere people think about it. Because quite frankly, a lot of us, we just want to get our point across. Yeah, if a channel grows, it grows. If some money comes out of it, it comes out of it. But dudes are not initially, most of the dudes in this space are not initially coming on here to say, I want to grow a YouTube channel and I want to live full time on YouTube. Now it may turn into that relatively quickly, but it's generally the social networking part of it, and the I want to basically put this out here, and this is gonna get heard because it's gonna be said. You're not gonna say it wasn't said. So dudes are not thinking about how to communicate, and plus dudes aren't really thinking about women to the extent of we need them to change. It's more like we gonna tell our side of the story, and then where it goes is where it goes. So a lot of dudes want to make it like, well, I want him to change women. What he is saying is based on what they believe and what they want. Do you qualify for it? And even worse so, it's not that you don't qualify for it because you were born not qualifying. You don't qualify for it because you're not willing to put in the work. And so what he's doing is more of a value change, to have them slowly reassess their values. And you've seen this in how some women respond, where they said they were thinking about leaving their relationship and they didn't because they didn't even understand how real it was in this marketplace, in the dating marketplace. Or they didn't have a true assessment of their age, of their value in the current marketplace. And then there's a difference between dudes having sex with women and dudes actually committing to women, especially when you look at the guys they want. So you start with what they want. Kevin's not telling them you have never, ever, 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 ever heard, I will put $500 on it, that heard Kevin tell women they should want a high value man. You ain't never heard that. So hold on. So my point is, and Kevin is more so talking about like he calls the average guys. I'm gonna start calling them solid dudes because dudes feel a certain type of way about being called average, and I understand kind of why that is, because if you make $50,000 a year, just that, you're in the top 25% of black men. If it's in the top 14%,
you're bugging out, Edward. You're bugging out.
That's not really average, huh?
Now go ahead. You good now?
I'm bugging out.
No, you.
Well, if you're 6 foot, you're in the top 14% just off gate, and we know height is a universal beauty marker amongst women, particularly black women, but all women. So my point is, you're not average. So there's certain average traits, but a lot of dudes have above average traits too, and that doesn't enter in the conversation. So when we sit there and say the problem I have with Kevin is that almost done. The problem I have with Kevin is that Kevin's not telling women what they should want. He's just doing it in a more longer form way than you would care to like, and that's not what his stuff is about. So anyway,
I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that Kevin talk about. They're just factual. You can't really, it's kind of hard to rebut them to a certain extent. But I think it's the context in which you put them sometimes. But I think the actual real problem that I think these conversations are being have around that, but they're not really going straight at the heart of the thing, is that here in the United States, guys, I hate to say it, there is a lack of plentiful, very beautiful, nice, feminine women. And I think that is the thing, because I'm sure there are some women in.
Well, he's not going to change that, so that's not his fault. I mean, that's not his job to change that. He's not Jesus. And to be honest with you, that's more. Hold on, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's more of a commentary. You know who you blame with that? You blame the black men that actually have sex with fat women.
Thank you.
Is it me or is he Borging?
Nah, that was Borging out.
Borging.
Yeah, I'm kind of, but like you blame those guys, the guys that are having sex with women with tattoos, they choose to stay in relationships with women that want to fight them. I'm talking about young dudes are doing this. So the reality is that's not so. As long as dudes are simping,
that's a huge
dudes
issue.
not getting their passports. That's not something Kevin can change. And if you notice, Kevin actually belittles those guys. So he does try to address that. But that's the reason you have what you have. Because hey, you got dudes that they don't even want to interracially date because they feel bad that they mama won't like it. So they choose to not exercise their sexual options. So it don't matter if you're gonna self-improve if you already telling a woman I'm never gonna leave you. Then they turn into AT&T, Spectrum, and Time Warner Cable. They just charge you whatever.
And that's why it's important to talk to men. That's why it's important to address men, especially young men. Go ahead.
And I also think it's important that too, that we doing this right here, that we all are congregating like this and sharing the information. Iron sharpens iron. That's important. And like you said, we're doing this with our sons, our cousins, our brothers, you know, all that. That's important. But I think a big part of it also is about, I know we keep, you know, the money thing. That's an important aspect of it, because not that you have to have it, but if you do gain that, or you know, BMT, go to a place where you're earning, you know, first world, you know, currency in third world countries, give you a first world type of living. So I mean, either way you got to get it. But if you can obtain that, however much it costs, if you can obtain that lifestyle that it will cost to get in America, maybe not necessarily those funds, but what it takes to get that type of comfortable lifestyle, it's important to have that, because variety is the spice of life. I got that from Tony Horton, Beachbody. Variety is the spice of life. You don't want to be dealing with one flavor or one type of meal, or, you know, one type of drink or what, nothing like that. So I would, it's great to have a situation where, you know, monetarily, I got options. I ain't got to deal with this. And it's not a big deal. It's not a big hoopla. It's just kind of peace out. This is what I want. This is how it's going to be. Oh, no? Hit the dough. Real quick, my mother, she was 20-year relationship with this dude. He was married. He owned a bunch of restaurants up here in Detroit. And one thing, every time they had a dispute, or what I would consider a dispute, he wouldn't say much. Oh, really? He started walking towards the door. My mom started chasing him. No, I'll talk to you later. And he gone. He ain't dealing with all that friction and all that other stuff. He still got his family unit, all the stuff, success, all that stuff. But I had noticed that. But with my dad, it was But the difference between him and my dad was getting money, but it was street money. This dude, he was, you know, getting a certain amount of money, owning all these franchises. And the way he could carry himself, I don't need this. I'm out of here. Have fun with your two babies.
That's leverage.
Yeah. Have fun with, and that's what exactly. And so when we talk about the money thing, he's saying that because we've been taught that money isn't important to be able to do this, and it shouldn't be. Money shouldn't be, you know, the route to happiness to have a good relationship with a spouse. That's the fact that that's the case is sad as hell, but that's where we are. Excuse my
But
friend.
the number one reason for divorce is money.
Money.
Well,
right.
So it is important.
And again, but look at the billionaires that just got divorced that don't got money issues. I mean, I guess they got different money issues because money, you know, certain levels you got different problems, but they can't keep them.
A lot of that is a little different because those are more business dealings. Like a lot of them have not been dealing with each other for a minute. Like money is not a guarantee for anything.
But if billions can't keep these women, Kim Kardashian, Kanye just became here's an example. Kanye
got that mental issue though.
Well, I get it, but
that's a bad.
Hold on, one person talk, brother.
Let me just get this example out.
Edward, hold on, brother. Let me finish.
Let me get this example out, and I got you because I just want to stick it with relationships. So let me be more specific. Let me bring out Kanye. He just became worth $6.6 billion this year, correct? I don't know if y'all know. He just became worth $6.6 billion. He just got a divorce. Now he's dating some model chick. Kim Kardashian on that show came out on the Breakfast Club. She was crying, saying she felt like a failure as a wife because she couldn't. When he needed to go to Washington, she should have been in a position where let me follow my man to Washington State. Let me follow my man and go do this. Let me follow my. She felt like a failure because she couldn't live up to those expectations, and she was on her second or third failed marriage. I'm not sure, but so regardless, women want to have a successful relationship, and this is a Kardashian, right? They hold the keys, right? All this other stuff. They get all this clout. but she's out here sobbing. You know what I'm saying? Not living her best life. Over here looking like the one that lost. Look at Ye. Moved on. Done. And that because he put himself where he has leverage. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to learn to position ourselves and learn how to think plan long term. You know what I'm saying? So that way we don't have to deal with certain things that that arise in our lives that we don't necessarily have to deal with if we plan it right. And I think that's just another aspect we should take into account.
Black men are afraid of money. And this is why they value outfit. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Like you notice how white supremacy never comes into conversation when it's time to try to go get a female. There is no the white man got his foot on my neck, and we all know that white men have more social status, than black men globally, and yet that don't stop us. We act like that ain't nothing but a thing. You talk economics though. White supremacy, all these other excuses, anything to hide the idea. And even when you look at the tribal community, you don't really got dudes for the most part trying to create sustained situations overseas. Shout out to Ghana Dan, shout out to Dynasty. I know the ones that are. But for the most part, when you hear these guys talk, they're really talking from a vacay standpoint. I want to vacate. I want to escape for a little bit, not escape and then create a situation. Why it's like leaving the plantation to come back. And I get you need to do that to reinvigorate yourself. I'm talking about, though, eventually, like what shout out to Charles Tyler, rest in peace, tried to put a situation down where he would be permanently gone, like what Taylor Made Dreams did.
Right.
You know, these dudes aren't thinking. You can tell by a lot of these conversations, these dudes are not thinking about that. And then when they want to talk about, look, shout out, I do Forex, but they're not doing sustained methods to leave. And so it's almost like talking about a dream versus actually putting a plan together where it takes 3 years, 5 years, to actually make it manifest. And you don't hear those conversations as much as you should. I'm not here to criticize the travel community. I'm talking about amongst not the content creators. I'm talking about amongst the audience. It's more like, well, I'm gonna leave you. Yeah.
Edward, I understand what you're saying, brother, but it takes some time. Brothers are just not starting to get the passport. They're just not getting the message out there like that. But for the most part, man, like we just got an office out here in Colombia.
Hey, Bello, mute up, Bello.
Is that Bello or is that on?
Sure, it takes time, but it doesn't take time to have the economic conversation.
Let me finish my point real quick. When we started to develop, that was the whole point of getting this office in Medellin, Colombia, where I put my own bread up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I have faith that brothers do want to move overseas for extended amounts of time. Brothers do want to build. I do believe, in my opinion, that's easier for brothers to build overseas and get along with each other. Because, like I say, it's almost like the reason Black Wall Street, one of the major reasons Black Wall Street was successful is because we couldn't build in any other neighborhoods. It was segregated. So when you come to Colombia, you come to Brazil, you come to overseas to DR, you're segregated to a certain degree by culture and by language. So as we start to develop offices in Colombia, I'm talking to a brother who wants to have an office, a BMT office in Rio. We got Cardell out there in the DR. We're putting this together. It takes some time, but we are building, bro. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, Black men have a mental gap when it comes to economics. They fear it. And I'm not even talking about
not all Black men, brother.
I didn't say anything I say is never all. Just like me saying Black men don't have passports, only 6% have it. I'm not even talking. This isn't a criticism of you.
But
all.
you come up, but Edward, you're coming on a platform where we discuss economics and money. Like in this particular platform with this group of guys, we're not afraid of money, economics at all. That's what we discussed that 20%.
I'm making a commentary on Black men as a whole.
It's coming off like that.
Like travel brothers.
I see what Edward means. He's not speaking overall, but he's speaking. There are some segment of men. If I haven't been listening to all of the interviews KS been doing with the men, but I've seen some snippets of it. It looks like you will see that here and there in some of these guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sister Louis. You have something to say, bro?
Okay.
No, I'm just here chilling, bro.
Okay.
Well, I think there's a bit of a difference when you bring up the point with the passport ownership and diagnosing fear with black men in money or economics. Now the statistic you can get to, because that's tangible, that's a product that you can get. But saying that we're fearful of economics or fearful to make money, I think it's just more so there's a gap between the information of who has it, who's giving it. I don't think it's necessarily fear. That's the only thing. I get the overall point you were making, but it was just, I think it was just the context of saying, oh, y'all afraid to get money. No, we just don't know how to get money the right way for long-term goals. And I think a lot of times for anybody, not just let me finish this, and I got you. And I think the whole thing is, once we learn how to get that money this a certain particular way, then it's different. I think for everybody, for every group, no matter what, when you learn something new, when learning something that's a bit challenging, you can have some anxiety, there can be some doubt, there can be something like that. But that's why this type of networking or this type of congregating or these channels like this are important, because like the brother says, I've gone on multiple times. They're talking about cryptocurrency. They're talking about forex. They're talking about stocks. You got guys coming on like we got on the panel now, talking about what they're getting into. Other YouTube creators talking about what they're getting into. Shout out to all the YouTube creators. There's a lot of black YouTube creators, or YouTube creators in general, talking about economics, talking about different ways to get to the bag on your phone or on your computer, and then through other means where you want to do a vending machine. Shout out to Earn Your Leisure, all these other groups and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of black men out here really getting it. So I think that's a certain it seems like that's a stereotype that I don't want for us on this panel, or that's why I ain't trying to control your tone or your words. I'm just saying I think words matter, and it gives a certain type of energy when you say we fear. And I don't want, you know what I'm saying, that 4-letter word to be a part of it, because fear is failure, fear is
like, I knew exactly what I was saying.
Let him finish, brother. Go ahead, John.
Failure expectations appearing real. They just appear to be real. Failure of expectations appearing to be real. That's what fear is. So if we get it done and he's putting his work and he get the crypto going, Dr. Boyce is getting the stocks going, you got all these other guys, and we all sharing the information, just like Kevin Samuels is sharing his information from what he's learned in his 50 years and 2 marriages. That's what this is all about. And if we take it and do the right things with it, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what BMT is all about, Black Men Travels. And I think that's what we're all at the end of the day discussing.
Yeah, that's why Black Men Travel.
Let me catch your super chats, man. We'll get back to it.
I thought it was me.
Shout out to Afro Strategist for $10 super chat. He says, happy birthday. I appreciate the content and platform you created. Respect. Appreciate that $10 super chat, brother. Shout out to my boy Dollar Will, man. How you been, Dollar Will? It's been a little minute, man. I'll get you on the show one day with a $5 super chat. He says, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. Money's always a measure of success, but other factors matter too. Most definitely. Appreciate that $5 super chat, Dollar Will. Go ahead, brothers.
Y'all got it.
Eric, I know you want to finish your statement, bro. Eric, you there? We got a silent.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Anderson, hold up. Eric, you was quiet.
All right. So my thing is the problem with this conversation is people are taking it too personally. At the end of the day, if I would have said,
bro, when you make a broad generalization about black men being afraid of economics on a show that we talk about economics the majority of the time,
but it's just like, I understand what you're saying, but just like if I say if you make $50,000 a year, you're in the top 25% of black male earners. That means 75% don't do that. That's not a broad generalization. It is what it is. I don't say this to be negative. I say this to identify a problem. So where the focus needs to be. Congratulations, you're doing a lot of great work to deal with that. And sure, there's pockets. Yes, 20% of black men don't have this problem when it comes to economics. They don't, like, as far as being open to it. But when I look at what the values are focused on, it's not here's the thing. Look, I'm gonna let y'all have what y'all have. Understand this, it ain't no education problem. If you talk about game and getting women, you are going to get a lot more of dudes that don't know and ain't never going to know how to do that. You will get a lot more of pushback. And then you all know the irrational fears and threats that the passport. Because remember, I come from the passport community before I came into the general manosphere. A lot of people don't know that. So I've been like monitoring a lot of this for 10 years. So this ain't just some statement I'm just making. And this is me talking to dudes for a very, very long time, a variety of dudes. And the reality is, yes, you have dudes, even in the manosphere, like the general manosphere, talk about money, economics. Sure, you got people, shout out to the FIRE movement, where that's becoming more of a thing post-COVID. But the reality is, when you look at like the mentalities a lot of black men have that keeps them in the blue pill space, you know, and why they lash out against passport bros, because they really think you all are selling black men up a creek. This is what they'll try to say. It's because they have, when you really dig into it, they care more about the validation from that female than they care about them increasing the capacity to do what the brother on the upper right hand side said, the ability to walk away and not be invested. That's one thing I didn't hear either. The reason why the other dude stayed is because there's a certain validation there, maybe just created with certain ties. I get that. And so you're dealing with a value thing. And yes, certain dudes are getting educated. That's great, because we don't need everybody. But I'm not under any illusion to how wide that gap is. Now, as far as dudes getting passports, sure, there's dudes that are finding this information more, and that's great. But the majority, that those are exceptions, not the rule. And it's not to say that what somebody cannot do. All it is I'm just saying that the problem, there's a lot of work to be done. That is it. That's all I'm saying. And there's a lot. That means there's a lot of growth.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on what he said, yeah, so I can understand from the perspective that Edward may be coming from, because even if you when you do have the funds and you have the resources, you have the passport, even some of us who do travel, at times, some of us that have a regular 9 to 5 here in the United States, and we have to plan the vacation, and all the logistical approach to going overseas or whatnot. It sometimes it can be quite cumbersome. It's a thing that you have to be psychologically ready for. Sometimes you're like, I don't feel like going to the airport and doing all this, all that, and then getting over there. And then when you get over there, some of us are still learning the languages and things of that nature. So it kind of take a lot, so I can understand that. Another thing too is that I think for so long here in the United States, you guys have to remember, I feel like the context that's missing, the nuance that's missing in this conversation, whether, it's KS and us, not dealing with the matrix and things of that nature, is that the United States is a very capitalistic oriented country, right? So almost everything revolves around money, and relationships in this country, even when you go back, whether it's the 40s, 50s, 60s, it's sort of always kind of revolve around money. For so long, men here in this country have gotten their, what you want to say, masculinity or their validation through their ability to provide for a woman, through their ability of having cash, having money or whatnot, So now here we are in the 90s, the 2000s or whatnot. Here we are, women are going to school, they're getting educated, but something else is happening, right? Now they're having the ability to have their own money. Nobody prepares us for this. Nobody has, now that's why you have so many dating coach and things of that nature, because nobody actually saw this coming and understand what kind of effect this will have on us. And we cannot deny it. This is really at the core of it, the nucleus of this conversation. When it comes down to it all, if you listen to a lot of men, the men who actually have and the men who actually don't have as much resources, it comes down to this. It comes down to leverage. We're fighting to get leverage back. That's what this is all about.
Very good point. Very good point. King Sigma, you there, brother?
Hey, what's up, BMT?
Hey, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, just catching the end of what Edward and the brother that just spoke were saying. And I would add, I think what the brother, what is the brother that was just speaking's name?
Who was just speaking?
Bellagino.
Yeah, Bellagino.
Bellagino, yeah. So I kind of want to jump in on what he was saying, because he actually is pointing to the reality of the sexual marketplace. When we have these conversations and we try to have, I noticed that a lot of people have a conversation from the standpoint of what existed before 2021 versus what's going on right now. in the current sexual marketplace, like what the brother was just speaking to, women have gotten a lot of their resources from the state. And when you talk about the G20 countries in the West, those states give more and more resources from the general pool of men to a greater supply of women who have more and more demands. So in an environment where the state is minimalist and gives less resources to women, the onus is going to be on the men to compete for those women by having more and more resources. So the part that we keep leaving out is that the state has stepped in as a surrogate father, a surrogate husband, and a surrogate provider of resources. And I'm thinking about this because I'm reading a book right now on sexual evolution, Sperm Wars, and I'm working on another book as well because I've been trying to figure out this mating market as well. And that's the one thing that I've noticed that these evolutionary biologists and these sexual psychologists all agree on. When the state steps in and takes on the role of the man, that changes women's natural preferences that developed over millions of years. In a traditional society, in a culture with no state, women are going to tend to go for the men with the highest amount of resources because their survival is on the line. Their survival and the survival of their children. When the state steps in and gives more and more resources, the need for a mate for resources diminishes, right? So what we have in America right now specifically is that when you're talking about black men, they don't fear money at all. Black men, they're going to get enough money to get women. See what it is? The environments and the household that they're being reared in put a lot of value on being a pretty black man, a good-looking black man, and slanging a lot of D. So basically, it's a value thing, not a fear of money. How do I know? Those same dudes, they're going to keep a fresh pair of J's on. They're going to keep a nice car with some nice rims. But what it is, their expectations are only going to go as high as what they're reared to. So they know that in their environment, they place a high value on vagina, right? And the vagina that they are in closest proximity to doesn't require that they have an education, doesn't require that they have an income above 100,000. That environment just requires that you be pretty, that you speak well to what a woman wants to hear. If you do that, these are the dudes that are running around with 5, 10 kids. They ain't having a problem. So within their environment, they don't see a reason to aspire higher. What men in this space are doing, they're saying, hey, that model is not a competitive model globally, but those men are thinking locally. So that's why I say that you can't force those men to be something they don't want to be. That's why I personally say focus on the men who are thinking globally. Keep it focused on them, because again, you're going to have a hard time changing those guys because in their environment, they're the man. Why change?
Good point. Good points, King Sigma. Eric, did you want to respond to that? Oh, we got another quiet moment from Edward.
Can you hear me?
Well, yeah.
Me and Sigma has had this conversation deep, and you know exactly what I mean. And I said pure economics. We're not talking about street money. We're talking about economic development, because that's what's required to create time freedom, which is what is required in order to do things like travel and stuff like that. So, and to be fair, America in general, whether you're black or not socialized, you do not value your time. But dudes are losing whole decades, you know, because we're not socialized the right way. And again, this is not me saying, well, black men are bad. This is me saying this is to the degree that the problem is. And like you said, C. Sigma said to not even try to deal with those dudes. So he's pretty much writing them off. So, I mean, that's an option. I'm not saying that that's not a good option. But because the younger dudes are coming up slightly different. But what I'm saying is when it comes to economic development, and there's different reasons for it, you get a lot of pushback from black men. You do. There's a lot of excuse making. Now, if dudes are already on that, then they're on that. But like I said, that's about like 15, 20%. You know, and if that, 1 in 5, I would say it's like 1 in 7. And then outside of that, you know, you get this degree of pushback. Just like how y'all know everybody ain't on the travel thing. And we've all seen the irrational pushback we get to traveling. Y'all are we're trying to share what helped black men from a quality of life standpoint. And then we already know all the stuff that gets thrown out. We already know the crazy stuff that gets said, you know. So you see the same thing from an economic standpoint. That's why people never want to have that conversation. That's why when people always say that the manosphere never talks about money, we only talk about women. There's a reason for that, but it's also because that's kind of like that commentary they're really trying to give. They just don't say it in that way. So I get what y'all are saying. I'm not saying I'm right and y'all are wrong, but Sigma knows what I'm talking about. You know exactly.
I know exactly what you're saying in terms of the money factor. My whole thing is this though. When we look at mating strategies, right? Mating strategy always exists based on what the dominant hierarchy is based on that sexual marketplace. And what I'm saying is this. So we know in America right now, women are getting married later and later by choice, right? So the average age of women's marriage in America now is up to 31. And for black women, I think it's like 35. The prime marriage age for men in America is 25 to 35. The moment a man hits 36, we see a drop in his likelihood of marriage. And once he gets to 40, it's less than 12%. And 50, unlikely to ever get remarried. He'll just become a dude that becomes like a sugar daddy. So what I'm saying is that in this marketplace, if you take the average American male, he's been groomed to think of women in a casual sex way because that's what women say. Women every day come out with articles talking about, man, I read an article recently where this woman was talking about she had the perfect husband, right? Perfect husband. He had a good job. He was handsome. He was well-liked. He had social status, all of that. But she said she still wants to run the streets. So what happened is that men have adjusted in this last generation or two, and I'm just talking about the last 30 to 35 years, they've adjusted their mating strategy to deal with women that are casual sex partners. So to do that, now I'm gonna keep the Pookie Ray Ray guys out of this one and just talk about the other men, the working class men to middle class above. If he's making 50 to 70K, for example, let's talk about those guys. That's enough to give him a decent lifestyle in most American modern cities. And if he happens to be handsome and he makes 50 to 70K, that's almost like adding in an extra $30,000, $35,000 because women in this market, they make around that much. So if she's making 50 to 70K, at least where I'm at, I meet so many women that make around that much, 50 to 70K. So that the resource part is not priority to them. Where it becomes a priority for those women is once they want to get married. Now, the strategy for a casual sex versus marriage is totally different. Because as a man in America, if you're going to take on a wife, it depends on how you're going to go about it. So you got two options. Do you want a woman that stays at home? Or do you want a woman that continues to work? For me, if I decide to move from the casual sex market into a wife, I don't want my woman working once children come into the equation. So I figure she may work the first 2 years, but then I want her focus once the children come in to be on raising my children. Now she can work from home and remotely part-time, but her focus needs to be on the children. So for me, that means that based on what the average middle class entry level is, about 41,000, I'm gonna have to make up that part that she was bringing in. So at least 80K is the minimum to bring on a wife if you want her to focus on raising your children, is my opinion. So I'm just saying that the strategy that most men are taking in America is that since most of them aren't trying to get married until they're after 35, and most of the women don't want to be married until after 30, that's what we're getting. These are the unintended consequences of women and men's decision in this marketplace. Women, for the most part in America, are turning down proposals from good men and treating the good men like trash. So men are being more and more selective because of their experiences with women. Why do you think men are getting married at 35 on average, or 33, or whatever it is for men? Because black men is different from the general number. But the point is, both genders are responding to a sexual marketplace that this phase that we're in was here before any of us were even born. This shit started in the 50s and the 20s wave, the 50s and the 60s. We all were born into this market where we saw our mothers and grandmothers and aunts, how they were moving. We saw our uncles and our fathers and our grandfathers, how they were moving. So we are just the generation that has accepted the conditions that these women want to have casual sex until their market value starts to drop. And what they do, they want to get, the moment that it starts to drop, now they want to secure a mate because now their market value, but while they're firm and fertile, they want to run the streets. And men are like, okay, she's her own person.
And they want to get a beta at the end.
Yeah. And that's where they have the problem with now is that they're destroying their own beta market because now men are listening to Aaron and the dudes are sitting around like, let's say 10 years ago,
You might have had a woman that, she's 25. She got 20 dudes, right? 80% of those dudes in them are her orbiters. Now, because they're listening to a guy like Aaron, they're like, why am I sitting around? I'm making 50,000, 60,000. I'm decent looking. I can go to Colombia, Brazil, or some other place. That's like 100,000.
Good point.
So that's why they hate a guy like Aaron, because he's telling guys, why are you sitting around being a beta orbiter for a woman? Because again, the beta orbiter time frame was much better 20 years ago than it is today. Before, women were getting married at 24, 25. So you were a beta orbiter. Maybe you were a beta orbiter for a year or two. Okay, I can be a beta simp for a year or two. But now these women are like, no, we're putting you on the 5 to 7 year layaway plan. That's why they don't want Aaron out here. That's why they don't want Aaron out here.
Motivation was the entire purpose of the passport community. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Because regardless if people want to say fear or priority or environment, a lot of black men are not motivated outside of what sexual act, and they're not. And that's why I say is even if you don't have sex, this is why when people like to do the tricking argument, I'm like, even if you don't have sex, it is still a life-changing thing to go overseas. Even though you go overseas knowing that that's not something you're going to do, because that's how much of getting out of this bubble can actually change you. Even women talking to you like they got some sense, like you're a human being, can completely shape that. So when people always make the triggering argument, I always say no. Because a lot of us first went overseas either for the military or for corporations like me. So those guys don't understand the value of it. And it's kind of like you got to pull teeth to get them out of it. And the money issue is something that's brought up. It's brought up by a lot of these guys. And granted, yeah, you should focus on the people that are like-minded, because you're starting to get a situation where a lot of these younger guys, these Z's are getting online and they're starting to look for different things. They're not going to do the typical thing more. And when you look at things like social media platforms like TikTok and stuff like that, where there are a lot of older people on there too, you're seeing much more fruitful environments for stuff. So this is not at all meant for me to be like this is a commentary on what people are doing or anything like that. This is just to say that there's a lot of gold to dig. There's a lot of problem that can be solved. And with that comes a lot of money, comes a lot of stuff. Like the very fact that you have to leave the country, because I talk about something like Highlander syndrome a lot, where men competing against each other rather than working with each other. The very fact that we got to talk about dudes going overseas in order to work together just shows that the environment in the United States is definitely not of a mental environment for men to not compete with each other, trying to deal with women here. Let's just call it are below grade. One of the things I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end it at least on this topic for me, is this argument with Sweetie. Kevin rated Sweetie a 6 or a Justin 6, and everybody got mad. I love it how these women want to take up for a biracial female. Whatever. They got mad, and I'm like, technically, Sweetie is a 6 with an asterisk because her behind isn't hers, her chest isn't hers. So if you actually rate her as to how she naturally comes out, it 6 would be nice.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know she had. Oh, wow, really?
I didn't either. Vlad said that because I watched the Vlad interview.
Oh,
so I didn't know that.
What now?
I didn't know that she had
her butt and hers.
Oh wow!
So basically, she wanted legends that look like sticks.
You bugging out, Hilbert.
You bugging, bro.
Crap. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
Okay, so I'll say this to end it. All the guys on this panel have been overseas. Now we know good and well, without tricking, you see women that look like Sweetie, and she's cute. She's not like, oh my God, I just gotta talk and it don't matter where you've been. I've been in the Philippines, and I've been in a couple other places. I mean, that ain't nothing. And I'm not trying to sit there that Sweetie is attractive, but that's what you would say, attractive. But these dudes are literally
dime a dozen in Colombia.
Yeah, how could you call her? Look, there's a chick that I follow, and she's on TikTok, and she's Brazilian, and she's attractive, but she's not oh my God, you're gonna second look if you live down there. She's got 1 million TikTok followers. She's got 2.5 million Instagram, because here that has so much cachet because the thirst is so high up here because these dudes don't know nothing. And this is why, you know, we get frustrated because we like, if you just go over there, screw having sex. If you just see these women and you see them be nice to you, you'll act different. Anyway, I'm done. But y'all get it.
No, what you just said is facts.
Hold on real quick, bro. I want to go ahead and end the show. I want to get everybody's closing statements about the topic, you know, about Kevin Samuels Men's Week and what they thought about it. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with you. Bati Thug, are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead with your last statement.
Okay, so basically with Men's Week, I think it was important to switch up. It's okay to switch up. I mean, he's probably gonna go back to his bread and butter, which got him. He's gonna get probably a million subs this weekend or whatever this week. But it's a good thing because we still have to address each other too. You know what I'm saying? We still have to. There's still a lot of simps, and obviously there's a lot of betas out there that we need to address. There's a lot of mindsets we need to get to, and I think from time to time he still needs to touch up on that. And us men that together, we got to touch up on. But all right, man, BMT, I appreciate you, man. I keep doing your work.
Appreciate that, brother. Good points. Right. Appreciate that.
Dion, let me go, Eric. I got to slide out.
Okay, go ahead, Citizen Luke.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. Oh, who was it, me or him?
No, let me just go. Let me go real quick, bro. I gotta go. I was gonna say, man. I mean, this was a good topic. You know, everybody had brought some good points. My whole thing is, man. Look, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end it on this whole Kevin Samuels thing, bro. Bro, the dude he's an entertaining dude on YouTube, bro. It's like when guys kind of just use this messiah. Not saying nobody on the panel does it. I'm talking about in general. Some of them dudes have like this messiah complex, like everything he says is right. It's like, bro, this dude is 52 years old. He's Divine 9. He has a totally different perspective than us here. I mean, he's trying to put a Band-Aid. He's trying to fix black community and all that stuff. What we're saying, the BMT community, is like, look, bro, just be you, travel, explore, because in these countries we in, it's a what, 3-to-1 female to male ratio. So that's all I'm saying, man. And the dollar goes far. So, all right, man, y'all boys have a good one, man. I'll talk to y'all later.
Good points, Lou. I'll see you tomorrow, brother.
All right. Oh yeah. Oh man. Hey, y'all know it's my boy's birthday tomorrow. If y'all in Columbia, man, we turning up in vibes in Columbia. If y'all in there.
Appreciate that, bro. See you tomorrow.
All right, man. Peace, bro.
Or tonight, if you want to put it up tonight. I mean tomorrow.
But thanks for having me on. Love watching BMT. And I think for me, everything is just coming back to us working together and focusing on ourselves and, you know, making sure we have the options and the leverage that we need to have the full lives that we want to live. And then if we focus on ourselves and do that, then the world is our oyster, and we don't have to necessarily be so consumed about the failures of our relationships and this, that, and the third. Once men start acting like men and we're actually bonding and networking together like we did 100 years ago, like the NOI do, we'll get that respect by how they view us and how we're acting, and everything will come back around. So that's my take on it. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Love it. And, you know, I'll be watching the next video.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate you coming on, man.
For sure.
Bayo Jenner, you there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yes, I mean, it's good that KS has been talking to the man, which is kind of good. Can kind of give him a perspective of where they at too in this conversation as far as, you know, high value male, things of that nature. I don't really want to renegade the whole conversation that we just had. When it comes to as far as black men being fear of money or economic development, I see what the brother might mean, but the term seems a bit it may be a bit misplaced, because we all know here in America, black men, the shit that young black men have done to get money, the risk they're willing to take, I mean, it's just enormous. I think it just may be that some people may not have the know how to, right? And speaking of that, one of the things too, you know, that I will show you that people may not have the know how to. There's a lot of platforms on here. Again, I don't want to start no beef or none of that. There are a lot of platforms on here. Instead of having real substantial conversation, you know, or talking about whether it's stocks, trading, crypto, real estate, all these new forms of getting money, people are discussing black female weave, Shakari Richardson's yellow hair and crap like that. I feel like those conversations are so trivial. You know, there's no meat to it because at the end of the day, we're not about to change the females here in the States. You're not. I mean, I understand people just do this just to do this. And I like what the last brother said. You know, there is a bit of entertainment feature to Kevin Samuels, even though everything he talk about are 100% facts, you know, but there's not really that approach of how to solve some of these problems, you know. It's just that I hope brothers will open their eyes and understand that these are not the 1950s, the 1960s. You're not about to get the exact same things. The United States, in our culture, in the black community, there's a lack of real beautiful, naturally beautiful, attractive. I mean, I hate to say this. I have a black mother. I have a black sister. I mean, I hate to say that because the average chick that you see, whether in Colombia or Brazil, or even if you here in the United States, if you go to some communities here, in the Bronx or here in Boston, there's a place here in Massachusetts, the city called Lawrence. It's a Dominican community. I go through there. There are places where you see, you know, people, you know, frying chicken. The girl you see back there frying chicken is a very beautiful chick back there frying chicken. But if that chick was in the black community, she'll be calling herself a baddie. She'll be calling herself a baddie, and she will put a certain value. She will put a certain value on herself. You know, she'll be with the Instagram. You know, she'll be trying to get with football players and basketball player. But in the Colombian community, in the Dominican community over here in Boston, man, these are like average regular females, man. You know, so there is this may be and this is where when black female they will start the whole colorist conversation and things of that nature. Even though when a lot of us go to DR or Dominican or Colombia, we mostly deal with mostly Afro-Colombians, chicks that look. A lot of these Afro-Colombians, they look darker than the average light-skinned person here in America that we consider black. The average Dominican is probably darker than Beyonce, but nobody ever really questioned Beyonce blackness. You know, the average Dominican look darker than Steph Curry. Nobody.
Good point, brother. We're gonna wrap it on up though.
Yeah. I'll just stop right there, man. I'll catch you on another show.
All right, appreciate that, brother.
Appreciate you.
All right, Edward Anderson, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'll be quick.
Okay.
I know you're trying to wrap it up. All right, so I stand by what I said about black men fearing economic development. Anybody want to debate me on that? Just email me. You can definitely debate me on that. That's number one. Number two, as far as traveling, I'm all about traveling aspirationally, and I know everybody can't get the money with a snap of a finger, but my thing is going to be, what's your plan? We've been doing the aspirational thing. The travel community's been around for a long time. I'm not talking about your channel, but your channel's been around for a while. But like Frustrated with Al Grease, and you got a lot of dudes that they, you know, my thing is, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your plan? It's always going to come back to that. There's got to be a level of urgency. And I'm not saying that in order to say people need to hurry up. All I'm saying is, don't let 5 years go by and then you wish you did something. And don't live vicariously through other brothers. That's not, they don't put this information out here for you to live vicariously through them. They put this information out there to inspire you to actually take the actions necessary. So that's all I'm saying. And I know dudes have an issue with the fear word. That's fine. I'm like a locker room coach. I'm not here to I'm the assistant coach. I'm not the dude that's here to tell you what you need to know, what you're trying to know to feel good. I'm here to tell you what you need to do as far as fundamentals to make what you need to have. Well, that's where it starts. That's where it ends. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, as far as the conversation with Kevin, hold on. As far as the conversation with Kevin, real quick. Well, you know what? Whatever. I'll let that go. I'll talk about that later. Anyway, appreciate it, man.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on, Edward. We got King Sigma. What's going on, brother?
Oh man, you know, it's too bad I came on at the very end, but I would say this, man. We have a math problem, but this thing has been solved by evolution a long time ago. you know, if you look at someone like my mother's generation, who was born in the 1960s, and my father, who was born in the late 1950s, and you took their sexual marketplace. Let's say that you had 5 categories, right? The most gorgeous women, hot women, cute women, okay women, and ugly. In their day and age, just looking at pictures from my mom and father's generation, right? Looking at movies from that generation, you can see that there were probably 2 gorgeous for every 10, 3 hot, 2 cute, 2 that were okay, 1 that was ugly, right? So like 10% of the women would have been ugly. Today, it's like it's the opposite. You might find 1 gorgeous or no gorgeous, 1 hot, 1 cute, 4 that are okay, and 3 that are ugly, right? So what's happening is that, and I think Edward was talking about that Sawiti chick and how even with all her enhancements, she's still considered a 6, right? Now, if you're in a marketplace that's a locked marketplace, the men still want to get laid regardless of how low the standard goes, right? So that woman who is a 6 or a 5, she's going to get the attention of what a woman in the 70s that was an 8, 9, or 10 got, right? And men had more access because of different cultural reasons and social constraints on the women and on the men in a smaller marketplace because we didn't have the internet. So what's happening is that now that guys like you are coming out here and saying, look, you don't gotta be in this thirsty environment where it's like a sex desert and you're out here entitling women, blowing up the heads of 5s and 6s, because it's not gonna cause improvement. A market needs some kind of shock. It needs a shock to force change, right? And that's what the Passport brothers are doing and the Traveling Bros are doing. They're providing a shock to the system, and they're also draining some of the more competitive males from that closed marketplace, which will open up the marketplace. Because again, when there's 10 men in a room and only 2 women, that's where all the problems start. But what happens when there's 10 women in a room and there's 3 men? Now the leverage has shifted to the men. The problem we have in the 2021 marketplace is so much of the leverage is in the hands of the women. And so men like yourself putting this information out there, you're telling men, you don't got to play that game. There's other rooms, there's other markets to go to, even within the United States with the Sisman Bros. You don't have to travel 10,000 miles, but if you're going to be locked into that, I have to save the community mentality, that's when you're stuck, because that leverage is already in favor of the women. We all know it at this point. If your only thing is that you're going to put a monopoly stamp on your sexuality and your sexual access based on what's going on with the ADOS woman, you're finished. Because they already know, well, okay, well, if I'm the prize and I'm the priority and you're not willing to go explore other cultures and ethnicities, then why should I change? There's nothing in the environment to cause. In fact, they're about to pass the biggest tax cut in the next that's in the last 60 years with the Biden administration, which is going to increase the amount of money that's allocated from the tax-paying men in America to women. So they're about to get even more money. They're getting more tax credit right now. So there is no incentive for them to change in the current marketplace until a change is forced. But with that, I know you got to go, bro. I'm gonna catch you next time. We're gonna pick up on this one next time, bro. But you have a good weekend, man.
I appreciate that.
Happy birthday, by the way. Happy early birthday, man.
Man, appreciate that. Appreciate you coming on, brother. We're going to definitely chop it up soon. All right. Good show, fellas. Very good show. I want to give them super chats, and I'm going to go ahead and end it. Shout out to Black Voltron Reloaded with the $20 super chat. I appreciate that, brother. He says, new to the channel and appreciate the content. Been making 100,000 plus for 2 decades and traveling overseas since I was 15. I'm glad we're finally having these important conversations. Salutations to all. Appreciate that, my brother. I really do appreciate that. Let me see. We got a few more. Shout out to my brother Corey Washington with a $10 super chat. He says, paying my tithes. I appreciate that, my brother. Shout out to my brother LK with a $5 super chat. He says, shout out to the panel for spitting wisdom and insight. Appreciate that. Well, brothers, it's been a very good show, man. Till next time. Peace.